All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another AMA by the Olympians. Today, we are joined by the Com Financial team, and they will be talking about their project. We'll ask them a few questions, and then we'll move on to the community round where anyone from the audience can ask them anything they want. So, how are you guys doing?
Doing well, doing well. How's everything on you guys then?
Great, great. We're having these AMAs again after a short break we had last week. Kind of too many projects wanted to contact us, and we couldn't just deliver everything they wanted. But fortunately, now we have more time, so hopefully we'll be making more of these AMAs.
Yeah, no, I've been actually following the Olympia Discord, and you guys always preach out good content, especially the one with Warp. Um, so that's why when you provide good services, people are gonna ask and request. But yeah, I guess what I can do is I can kind of just start off giving a quick, just like one liner of what Comb Financial is for people that aren't, I would say, aware of our protocol. So we're on the Phantom network, and just a quick one liner of what we do is we're the Phantom protocol for blockchain services. Now, many of you have kind of exposed slightly to some blockchain services. Like an example of a few is DAS, which is DeFi as a service, NAS, which is nodes as a service, and FAST, which is farming as a service. So these are different like services on that can be performed on the blockchain. And the whole idea behind Comb is we want to be your go-to protocol when you want to be exposed to just blockchain services on Phantom. We have a lot of exciting things that are coming out. Uh, More specifically, and actually really soon, is going to be our Hyverse, which is our metaverse world within our platform. We'll talk a little bit more about that as this AMA progresses. But Yeah, I guess that would be a kind of a quick little intro of like what Comb does, I would say right now.
Great. For those who don't know, could you explain what a node is and how it works on your ecosystem?
Yeah, so our node, so before we even get into that, so our branding is um is our nodes are called hives. And since Phantom is a proof of stake network, each node, like right now we just got the validator actually. So all the transactions um all the transactions get validated through our validator now. So your nodes actually have real world utility behind it. So the nodes we provide are hives, actually per se. Um, they are just a block of data, and you can use that for your RPC endpoint on your MetaMask. And this actually helps the network because it makes it less congested, and it actually optimizes it by speeding up your transactions through like swaps or in general. So each hive that you go with on Comb, we provide that. So there's utility behind that, as well as you're also helping the network out. If you're bullish on Phantom, it really helps. Um, and I would say that's kind of a quick, like, kind of little thing about what kind of utility base for the current hives that we provide. Um, Now, since we got the validator, we're actually boosting and validating transactions on the Phantom ecosystem.
All right. And speaking of Phantom, why did you choose this chain instead of any other?
Yeah, so we're actually really bullish on Phantom. There's a few reasons, but in a more like broader sense of why we love Phantom specifically is we love the community. We think it's very undervalued as far as other like other networks like Avalanche and Polygon. It's very undervalued. Well, Polygon is barely any traction right there at the moment, but the community is very wholesome and very like it's very close knit. There's a really strong community behind Phantom, and I love that. And especially the direction we're heading with our metaverse game. Um, when you think of Phantom, like they've built this such a great name for themselves as far as like horror. So like releasing a horror game or just releasing like just kind of that gamified aspects when it comes to these protocols. I think that they built a very nice brand for that, which we love. At the same time, it's undervalued as a ton, and we're actually seeing. We saw, I think, what is it? The TVL rose up like 50% like 2 weeks ago, and it actually passed Avalanche, right? If we go on DeFi Llama, we'll see like how this network is actually kind of building and advancing, which is really nice. Um, and that's one I would say from my lens, it's more so like I love the community. The community is everything, especially in this infant stage of protocols. So to have a nice community building up from there, and there's really no, I would say, really dominant figures in the Fantom ecosystem. So we're really proud to be kind of the front runners of that for the time being, and just keep just building and innovating.
All right. Yeah, that sounds pretty convincing because a lot of projects will jump onto Fantom. I believe this first quarter, the TVL to market cap of the chain is insane, at least for Fantom. You guys have a new compounding token, right? Because I read the docs. Yeah, I actually read something. And could you elaborate on how it works?
Yes, so this is actually really innovation. So we have a compounding token called Nectar. So Nectar, the beauty of Nectar is, so when you're exposed to different protocols, there's always tax associated with it from your guys' end, right? And that's whether it's a 10% tax or an X percentage of tax. This is just to prevent sell pressure from the protocol, so that everybody benefits, and it actually benefits more holders than swing traders, right? Like we want investors, not traders, when we're recruiting, especially initially. But at the end of the day, we welcome all, and it's just inevitable that you're gonna have traders. But so the beauty of Nectar for the specific compounding case is you can avoid all taxes. So there's no liquidity, so you can't swap. We have a wrap function where you can wrap your comb and turn it into Nectar, which is pegged 1-to-1 to comb, and essentially that makes you completely avoid all taxes. So if you actually truly want to compound and um, like actually invest in the protocol and believe in the protocol, then you should not be taxed or punished per se, right? It's more so that you are investing in this project, and by all means that you have um, there's no tax or anything associated with that. So right now the use case of it is mainly used for compounding into a node or Hive, I should say. Now we're releasing as the hypers kind of gets more and more layered out. There's going to be a lot more in-app like use case as far as the Nectar goes. We really want, I think it also helps comb out in it itself. And yeah, right now the current purpose of it is you can compound, um, you can wrap your comb into Nectar, and then you can also so you can send it around, send it to wallets and all that stuff. The main purpose for it at this moment is just to compound into a node, and you avoid all taxes.
That's great for those who want to avoid getting their money taken by the government. Seems
Yeah, so
quite
it's
amazing.
not even about the government just yet. It's more so just so protocol is taxed when you create into hives or just nodes in general. There's always like a 10%, sometimes 20. It's to limit the sell pressure of like people just selling, like they're claiming the rewards and they're just selling it immediately in the market, right? We want
Yeah.
we want to increase buy action. And that's the name of the game when it comes to starting out. You want to increase your liquidity, you want to keep building, you want to utilize your liquidity at the end of the day too. Um, so by having this option for users where they can, they can avoid that and be like, I actually invest in this protocol. I believe in this protocol. So, and you won't be punished for that. You can, and that's like, this is just the first iteration of Nectar, which is the beauty of it. This is what you guys are getting benefited for it. And as like the whole idea behind Comb and what we want to build is we don't want to just be just a NAS or DAS protocol. We don't want to be known for just yields at the end of the day. We want to make an actual impact in this, in Phantom, but eventually the real, like the world, right? Like we are at the front steps of changing the world truly, and by providing as much utility behind Comb and having these different use cases, that's where the true beauty is going to come in. And Nectar is kind of your first exposure to that. We're innovators at the end of the day. We have extreme ambition and goals to go with it, and at the same time we want to reward people off believing in our vision, right? The whole idea is just to reward you based off that, not to um not for Uncle Comb to come knocking on your door and say, hey, this is your cut. We believe that if you have 10 tokens and rewards, then you should just keep those 10 tokens, right? And also it provides a gratification. Our yields were slightly lower than a lot of other protocols, and we made that initial switch just for sustainability, because that's the biggest key. That's the name of the game too, is making sure that our protocol is sustainable at all costs. So for us, um, we implemented that later, and the thing is sometimes like no one wants to wait like 10, 20 days to claim rewards. That's not fun. We want this to be a super engaging experience for everybody. So you can claim it X amount of times you want throughout the day after each epoch, and you will get no tax and you'll be fine. The only thing you'll pay is just gas fees. So you have the gratification of just claiming rewards throughout the day and seeing your reward balance, essentially not reward balance, reward balance just kind of rising up, and you can kind of, when you see the hive. We also do have a nice progress bar that was created by Lord Cry. So it's really nice. So you can kind of see when um, you're eligible for your next hive per se.
Yeah, you were mentioning that you wanted to change the Fantom ecosystem and to make an impact, right? You guys are doing NFTs as well. Do you think that with this NFT season that could perhaps help your project achieve that?
Yes. So NFTs is one aspect, it's one layer. So when we're talking about Comb, that's where I keep striving and just gorging like the utility base, right? The whole idea about the NFTs is that we want to eventually convert our hives into NFTs. So then people can trade it, transfer it. Because a lot of people, as you get exposed into, just DeFi, um, you don't necessarily um, you don't necessarily get like a ledger in the beginning. And I understand that. So there's a lot we've been dealing. Samir Hakia, they can kind of touch base on this. We get tickets all the time with people like, their seed phrase, and it's very unfortunate and stuff like that. It just, it sucks. Just be careful, guys, when you guys are clicking links. But we get a ton of messages regarding that. So that's kind of one case. I was like, you know what, we need to. This would be a huge benefit for just the community, and because it's become security. Like if you want to just transfer your nodes onto a different wallet, you can, by having your hives as NFTs, you're allowed to do that. At the same time, as we're going into the metaverse, this is going to be the NFTs with in-app cosmetics. We're gonna have a trophy room. So there's a few people that we have done giveaways for our NFTs, and the first batch is extremely exclusive. It's team members, protocols, and the people win giveaways or contests that we perform. And at the same time, I believe we're actually giving an NFT to one of the audience members today too. Um, but these essentially would be displayed in our trophy room in our Hyverse. If any of you guys have not seen it, our Hyverse is Comb's metaverse. A basic kind of description is it's a world where you can interact with DeFi from a 3D space. So you can go to museums. We're gonna hopefully have integrations with Dexys, like Spirit Swap, hopefully Beethoven, like all these other protocols on Fantom, where you can kind of perform actions, but in a gamified manner, kind of like DeFi Kingdoms in a way. If you guys are if you guys have utilized that or played with that around. And then this would be also a chance for you guys to show off NFTs. So there's a lot of like benefits, and these like are more cosmetic related. But we want, there are going to be also NFTs that we're going to launch are going to be more financially incentives more so than kind of cosmetics. But I think it's going to be a huge game changer, especially for the direction we're going. And like I said, this is just this one aspect of the area we're trying to target. Like we really do want to be your protocol when you get exposed into Fantom, because the last thing we want is, we already know like word of mouth is the best type of marketing. We don't want people to be exposed to, a rug and pull. And that's the reason why I'm fully doxxed. Moon is fully doxxed. Like our faces are out there so you guys can know that. And we're also US based, so we're not going to run away or do anything weird. We're here to stay and we're here to change the world at the end of the day. Um, but yeah, I'm super excited for the NFT. It is like in the direction we go, because it's awesome, and at the same time, it's a very buzzing topic at this moment, especially with the retail traders. I would say that's kind of the big space that's blowing up. So if we can benefit, because like everybody in this Discord, guys, you guys are all super early. We're all really early. So if there's a way we can provide exposure, but the correct exposure to individuals, and just the average traders, and I think that's gonna be a huge game change for everybody. The more people get exposed just to Fantom, more people get exposed to different networks than Ethereum, is gonna really, really just help all networks out. Like all ships rise when it comes to situations like that. So if we're the front runner protocol, for your exposure to that initially, at the end of the day, we don't want to have all the eggs in one basket, right? Like we just want, like, that's the beauty of DAS too, right? You get exposed to all different types of DeFi protocols, and services, but you don't have to do the research when you have like a professional team behind, doing the research for that. So that's why we want to provide as much security for you guys, and have you guys feel as much like you guys just feel secured and safe. Like one bad thing that everything like as far as DeFi, I think like just the mind of a lot of traders nowadays is they're getting exposed to crypto thinking they're going to get 100x returns, right? That's not a good mindset to have, especially for the direction we want to head, because it's like it's not good. Normalizing like we're normalizing uh like dreams, right? Like it's like not dreams, like stuff that's just not obtainable or sustainable in the future, right? The whole goal is that when you purchase something today, you're gonna have the same reward percentage or APR a year from now, right? We want and also just quality of life, like health reasons. Like it's not necessarily healthy to be checking uh let's say a price of a token you're invested into every 5 minutes, right? We want we want to just be that protocol you guys invest in and trust and be like, you know what, kind of like an IRA, you take it out after like 59 and a half, right? There's a reason why these things work in centralized finance. It's because people is, you know what, they don't care about it, but over a period of time, you're going to get a bigger return. And that's kind of the goal too is, and that's why I love about DeFi as a service, I should say. Um, but yeah, I know I went on a tangent for a second, but I'll let you answer another, or ask me another question.
Sorry,
Continue?
I got my mic.
No, don't even worry about it.
Wasn't working. Yeah. No, I was gonna ask you. Let's assume I want to jump in Comp Financial. How would I do it? Do I mint the NFT? Do I buy the Comp token? How do I do it?
Yeah, so there's no NFTs as far as Hives just yet. That's gonna be released really soon. It's gonna be released after our Hiveverse. To give kind of more of it, our Hiveverse is gonna be the one that's gonna be released first, and then after that, we're gonna kind of optimize where you guys can kind of mint NFTs and sell your Hives and kind of buy Hives just from there. And I was actually talking to Smoot and Hakia a little bit about this beforehand. Was like I want to limit as much like I want to limit all these different things that you guys are exposed with right now, right? Like how we get started today as just a general user is you have to have Fantom, right? You have to be on the Fantom network. You have to have Fantom in your wallet for gas fees. And if you guys ever are running low on that, we'll provide you enough for your first purchase and adequately, because it's less than $1 at the end of the day. That's the beauty of Fantom is all gas fees it's extremely cheap. So we want to limit all that. So you have to have Fantom, and then you go on Spirit Swap. That's a DEX that we're partnered up with, and then you swap, your Fantom or whatever currency that you guys are using to Comb, and then essentially you go on our website, and from there we have 4 different tiers of Hives. Our tier 1 Hive, which are lowest, and this is we launched it actually later than last, is it requires 3 Comb tokens in order to create it, and all Hives provide yields, by the way. They all have their specific yields. Obviously, the higher tier Hive you go, the slightly better ROI you're going to have. Your ROI is going to be a little bit less than, so we have 4 tiers. Tier 1, 3 Comb. Tier 2, 9 Comb. Tier 3, 30. Tier 4, 60. So if you get like the tier 4, like the top of the top, where Hive, your essentially ROI is looking at like 100 days to get your return on investment. And as you kind of go like more and more lower towards like the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, that's when you're going to kind of get like maybe the one our average ROI between all Hives is around 100 to 125 days, which is actually insane. Like it's a beautiful number, and we want to keep, we want that, and that number's here to stay, right? It's not going to change. And if it does, that's, you guys will have months, like you guys will have enough notice and time before then. But yeah, so essentially at the current moment, you have to have Fantom. You go on Spirit Swap. You would swap whatever currency to Comb, and then you choose out of you go on our website and you choose out of all the 4 tiers of which Hive you want to get into. Now, if you guys are kind of like, this is your first time kind of hear about Comb and you guys are kind of a little iffy, that's where the Bronson Hive kind of comes in, our tier 1, right? This wasn't just created because there's like 2 reasons why I kind of wanted to really create this one. One of the main reasons was obviously our price action is getting higher and higher, and we want everybody to have the experience and we want to make this more accessible for just everybody, right? That's the whole goal, is we want everybody to be able to invest, and that's the beauty of crypto, is you don't have to be in a specific place to invest. And that's beautiful, and like the team is, we are US based, some of our team members, and at the same time we are just because we are from the US, our wages are typically higher than other countries. So I understand that a lot of these investments are going to be just not as accessible for just someone from around the like just different world, right? Like one of the biggest motivations for us as a protocol is we want to make a social impact. We want to like actually change the world and make it better, and that is by your exposure. So we're trying to think of different avenues to also do like staking and just like LP and yield optimizers, where you guys will actually have like ways to actually benefit and still benefit from Comb, by just holding Comb, right? Just by one token Comb, you're exposed to this whole world. At the same time, as the Hybrids gets released, you can interact via the game manner, which will be really fun. It's really cool. I actually posted on our Twitter, kind of a trailer. It's actually, I think it's not pinned right now, but I'll pin it later. But essentially, it's a trailer where you guys can kind of see like the first iteration of the Hypers, which is awesome. But this going back on the Bronson Hive, the second reason I wanted to is for people that are gauging their risk, right? At the end of the day, guys, all DeFi protocols, like when I say you guys are early, everybody's early, right? So it makes sense for you guys to gauge your risk appetite, right? Like if you should be more risk averse and risk loving. By already being in this network, you're already risk loving to an extent compared to an average trader. So that's where this comes into play, is because you know what, this you can kind of just you can get exposure. It's so substantial because our price action did rise quite a bit. But just with 3 Comb, you can get exposed to this protocol and interact and be exposed to the same exact thing that our tier 4 Aware Hives are exposed to, right? We want this to be a fun thing for everybody, and everybody to like partake and get yields, right? Everybody loves passive income. We want to keep providing that, but at the same time, we also want to provide other cases where you guys can go in the world and just have fun. That the whole idea is like once you guys are part of it and you're joining like the hive, and we're having a game night actually tonight, um, for just our community members, right? We want to make this as much engageful as possible, so you guys know that we're not going anywhere. We're here to stay. At the same time, community is everything in the beginning. Right now, this is where everything kind of matters. The foundation is built, and we are extremely blessed to have a very very uh, like bullish community, I would say. And I don't know. I love the direction it's heading, and we're extremely grateful for that. We'll go ahead for your next one, my friend. I keep going on these tangents, man.
All right. That was it for me, guys. Thank you for answering my questions. We'll now move on to the community round where anyone can join call. So if you have a mic, you can request to speak. We'll move you to the talk panel, or you can drop your questions on the Comb AMA text channel. So yeah, we can have both. Let's see. I see some hands. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Ragu.
Hot Sauce brought up a good question about bridging. It's not really a question, but it's just kind of a statement. But yeah, if I didn't touch base. If you guys aren't used to the Fantom, we're also going to think of a way to faucet. Think of Fantom faucets. So you guys, your first transaction is going to be essentially hopefully covered in the future. But go ahead, rugged up, I
Yeah,
believe.
guys.
1 second, let me raise your.
Thanks for having this. So,
Sorry, 1 second
firstly,
here.
I'm not involved in nodes this much, but yeah, I know about the strong nodes. It's in the market. So, you believe in Phantom Network and are giving a chance to the people the Ethereum gas fee. So, yeah, some people cannot really do not like the strong nodes, but it's kind of very successful as for now. I have some questions while I was reading your docs. I understand how I have in functioning like the com you pay out in com about 300% or 400% APR, yeah, right? And
Yeah, it's about
you
328. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So how you will control the inflation in there?
Yeah, so you're talking about the
The
sustainability, correct?
node income will be 40% to 70%, I think.
Yeah, so So the question I'm assuming is regarding the sustainability of the
Yeah,
protocol.
long sustainability. How how we are looking at long-term sustainability?
Yeah. So that's by utility. So when we think about strong, our nodes, I don't want to keep comparisons, but you got to look at the utilities, right? Behind like strong and all and other protocols, specifically in the sector. What strong did beautiful, look at David Moss, what he killed it in is he made a concept so difficult. Because when you get exposed into like, just crypto in itself, what stands out when you kind of join it is mining, right? Like a lot of people kind of like it's why does it mining stand out? It's because of, the passive income that it's obtained, right? So people are like, okay, but then what people don't realize is, and when they realize it once they kind of get into it, it's like, okay, this is a lot more difficult than I anticipated, right? Mining you need to have, it's an expensive investment. At the same time, you need to have like, a temperature set, and then or you have to be running it on a terminal. It's very technical for just an average person, right? So what Strongblock did that was beautiful, and they killed it, is they made that concept, but it provided it in a much easier manner where you can do it within a click of a button. Now, obviously, in the beginning of it, like how do these protocols, like how do we preach sustainability? Besides like the tokenomic aspect, just like from that, just keeping that just aside and constant is utility, right? When there's a lot of utility innovation provided by a protocol, that's where the sustainability is going to kind of you're going to see a lot of sustainability through there. And what I mean by that is if there's a lot of use cases for Calm, right? And there's also other tokens that we're going to release too that are going to have its own use case. But if you're exposed to this huge ecosystem of different products, this in itself will over time kind of help sustain the protocol just by the utilization of it. Um, and that's where the true beauty is, and that's where where I keep striving out that in the beginning it's hard to differentiate yourself from like other protocols. Like in the beginning, you guys are, like this is what's going to stand out and separate us. As far as sustaining that 300% APR, yeah, we did tokenomics. That APR isn't going to change, and if it's going to change, you guys will have we running a DAO structure where you guys will have a vote and pull. We're not going to just kind of say your rewards are kind of cut at this given moment. It's perfect. It's going perfectly fine. We don't see it changing in the foreseeable future. Um, but yeah, hopefully, did that kind of slightly answer your question?
Yeah. So while I'm going through your docs, I see
Docs
that
need to be
you have
updated.
a real buy. Okay.
Yes. So
So like, so you have buybacks. So as you're saying, as I just read that this will a way to control the inflation. So I want to ask, these buybacks will be automatic
no,
or
no. So
like it
so
the community vote?
yeah. So
Yes.
essentially, the buybacks they're automatic in a way that we do it extremely we do it frequently, like every day or and it's announced when we do it. Not announced like before we do it. And that's the reason we don't want to make it automatic. Is um we don't want people to like anticipate and be like, all right, this is when they do buybacks, and then just artificially like raise the price or sell. We do it at random times. It's anonymous, but we do buybacks just to sustain the protocol, to help sustain the protocol. We're also going to be releasing a really nice feature that's coming out at 12,005. Like when I don't want to sell it too much, but that is revolutionary for our protocol that we're releasing. That's going to also help with our yields and provide a lot more I would say like would just provide more strength for just sustainability. It's going to be dropped. Essentially, it's a really nice. I don't want to release too much just because I don't want to. It's going to be coming out soon. It's just be wary of that, and that's going to really help as far as like providing another use case for Comb and you guys having another exposure to investing. Let's put it that way. But to answer your docs, the docs we're actually revamping the docs completely right now. So the docs right now are outdated. We've just been so focused on just constantly pushing out updates that's just something that we just kind of have been, has been on the burner, but it's top priority right now, just so everybody has like the current things. But it's just because how fast DeFi is. It's the beauty of this industry is it's like a startup on steroids. Um, that innovation is really what matters, and pushing that and you guys seeing that is really what, in my point of view, is like really what matters. But at the same time, like the docs will be updated, so the docs out there right now, it's kind of outdated.
Yeah. So yeah, you are right. So for providing the utility to your protocol, but this utility, the most important part is the utility should be in time. So are you in time? You should be able to fulfill what you're saying here of the games and your metaverse.
Are you saying like as far as like when are you saying time as far as like us like say we're gonna like we're doing what we're saying we're gonna do as far as on like set deadlines are you talking
Yes,
about or
yes,
oh
yes.
100% man
Deadlines
like
and
yeah
yes,
yeah so the beauty is
because it is.
yeah we have so it's essentially almost finished which is why I said at 12,500 followers I will launch it correct it's almost it's basically done that aspect the game is we're just fleshing it out and making sure there's no bugs and everything is good to go but the game like we have gameplay out right like where you guys are kind of seeing the first room and that's what's going to you guys are going to be first exposed with is just your hive room right so there's gameplay of that. This stuff is out there. You guys can see it. It isn't like it isn't made up or any of that stuff. You can see legit data for from the hive, from your hive specifically, for your portfolio. I would say you see real time data um, from that, like from the videos, like from our gameplay videos. So I guess I don't know if you have any other questions or we can pull up the
Yeah,
next one or
maybe we
answer any.
can bring someone else. Thank you,
Yeah,
Rog, for the
thank
questions.
thanks for answering my questions, guys.
That's fine. And if
Yeah,
any
wish you all the
questions,
best.
if and this goes out to anybody in the
Yeah,
audience, if there's any question that wasn't answered or just anything in general, my DMs are always open. All you can reach out, or you can also, if it's more specific and you think it's very urgent, create a ticket in our Discord, and we'll respond and make sure that the eyes see it. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Rog. We can read some questions from the text chat if you want. I see a couple of good ones. Bloody asking about lower cost hives.
Yeah. So it's good seeing you too, Lottie. So essentially, that's so we're I want to be careful. So right now, yeah, we're thinking of I don't know about lower tiered hives because I really do like how we're keeping it through iterations of three or like uh and divisibles by three, my bad. But essentially, um, I would say we're gonna provide more use cases for Comb. That's where like you're gonna see so it's a yield optimizer. Let's just say we're dropping a yield optimizer at 12,500 followers. The yield optimizer is gonna be insane. It's gonna have a really good yields from it. No, that's the most, so you guys will have it. So that's going to provide a lot more where you guys can actually prevent, like kind of have yields. We're going to produce kind of like a liquidity like pool, which you're kind of mentioning. So you guys can work your way up to the three comb. But at the time being, currently, our top priority is just getting the metaverse out and making sure that that's a perfect product. Now I understand the price action is getting higher and higher, and that's one of the main reasons why. Um, like my goal is to make this as accessible as possible for everybody. I understand it's getting higher. It's on the back of our heads. It's a priority for us to kind of make sure that we can make this attainable for, not just people with high wages or any of that stuff, just everybody in the world. We want everybody to partake with this. And that's 100% in the back of our minds. We're thinking of constantly ways, and that's why innovation really matters, is because we're thinking of ways where you can still partake and have the same benefits and still like but not be required to have like an insane amount of hives, right? It's we're gonna think of ways right now, staking, yield optimizers. These will kind of be ways I would say like short term. Now long term, we'll kind of think of methods of making the tier one hive more accessible because the price action is getting higher. So I completely agree with you on that.
Guys, if you, I'm talking to the audience right now. If you guys want to speak, you can raise your hand. Remember, we're giving away some NFTs or tokens to the best questions. So yeah, you don't lose anything by trying.
So I have a question regarding the NFTs. Do you have any plan for the gamify mechanics involved with NFTs?
Yes. So gamified mechanics? Are you talking about like cosmetics, like skins?
Do you have anything else? Like I read on your channel that you have like a Hive Wars game, something.
I'm not necessarily understanding the question. Are you talking about having are you talking about the Hyverse, like having games on the Hyverse, or are you talking about having like like NFTs in the Hyverse?
Yes, the Hivers.
So games within the Hyverse is what you're asking?
Yes.
Yes, 100%. So our first so that's this is where this is where it gets really fun, right? So not only can you just interact with like dexes and have your trophy room of NFTs and just your own space, we're actually gonna have games on there as well where you guys can kind of play. We came from backgrounds of just gaming in general, so we're gonna have a lot of cool things that are gonna be kind of like that you've seen, like a specific like a lot of inspiration I've taken was from World of Warcraft. So a lot of things that we want to kind of have that isn't WoW, kind of bank, all that stuff. You guys will have like that exposure, right? Like basically, like that's where like so these when I'm saying you interact with these dexes, they're NPCs, right? But they're NPCs of the dex, like of their native dex, or like let's say Spirit Swap, it'll be like a Spirit's NPC. And that's the beauty of it. So you interact with them, and at the same time, we are releasing games. A game that we're working on right now is kind of like a trivia game that we're going to release. Actually, Moon is right now in the audience, so he's a lead dev as well, also the founder. So Moon, I don't know if you want to request up to speak, and he can get a little more technical when it comes down to the questions like that. But yes, we are releasing games within the metaverse. The whole idea behind it is it's just another world where you guys can interact. It's in a 3D space.
Oh, that sounds very interesting. Thank you.
Of course. Okay, so
All right.
So
Let's see if we have any questions on the chat. SB asking, will loaning land create some type of yield?
let me see. So you're not going to be owning. So it's not going to be kind of like sandbox. This isn't like this is a 3D space where you guys just interact within our like decentralized application, right? Our D app. So the beauty is that if I would say rewording that question is by owning hives, yeah, we'll provide you yield, right? Now when those hives turn into NFTs, then yeah, like all that stuff will provide you just yields in general. And that's the beauty of it, like you're interacting, like we want you. That's why we want Chrome to be super accessible for everybody, is so you guys can all partake within it. And there'll be a lot more use cases within the hivers as iterations kind of keep going on and on. But yeah, no, like you don't necessarily buy land. We're not going that route right now, but I won't say that won't happen, right? We're never against any stuff like that. This is more so in the beginning. This isn't an MMO in the beginning, right? This is just essentially just a single player where you're just being exposed into a way where you interact with your own D app.
Let's see if we have any more questions, because today we don't have many people with microphones apparently. Do you plan a launchpad and marketplace for NFTs? And did you answer that one?
So yes, this is where the beauty of the integration of other protocols come into play, right? As we start kind of getting more and more exposure and more prominent in Fantom, that's 100% going to happen, right? Like this is so when I said like taking aspects of like WoW, now where do we see this? The auction, like the auction house in WoW, right? So this is where things like this come into factor, and this will be as iterations as we kind of keep advancing and optimizing Hiveverse. Then yeah, these were all are well they're currently developing, right? Like it's happening. And yeah, Moon just touched up on a base that we are integrating a museum for the highest sold paint stop NFT, which you can make offers for. So I just saw.
Right. See any questions? If you find anything interesting in chat, you can
Yeah,
answer
I
it.
can kind of touch base. So let's go start. Are you so let's switch. So are you planning on expanding? Actually, Anders, we didn't answer that. What makes it different from Strong? So Strong is they're kind of just a NAS protocol. I would say I don't know if they're investing in other protocols or any of that stuff. Strong is more like I would say they're their own entity where they're kind of doing their own thing. I think right now they're going more cross chain, and not only are they, I would say our nodes provide like more because Phantom's a proof of stake network, while Ethereum's a proof of work network, right? So our nodes actually like so there's the validation through what we provide is actually there's more use case. As far as what makes us different is I want us to be a completely different, like we're a different protocol because that's where like the innovation stuff matters, right? Strong is, I like to say it's their own entity. They did a really like in the beginning of the AMA touch base. They made NAS. They're they're like the first baby of it, right? They created the whole idea of NAS, and we're forever grateful for that. But we're not just we don't want to just be known as a NAS network, right? That's the whole idea behind all this utility we're trying to provide for Comb is we want to be much, much more than that. And not even just basically providing gains, but like I was touching base earlier, is the social impact that we have the ability to provide. But then let's go on the next one. Let's because there's getting a lot more. Are you planning on expanding on other blockchains? At this current moment, no. We're very bullish on Fantom, so we're going to stick with Fantom. And we're going to, like I said in the beginning, the one-liner. We are the Fantom protocol. We are the Fantom protocol for blockchain services. So we're going to actualize on that. And once we actualize on that, that's when other blockchains will kind of come into factor. Have you hired or reached out to professional game designers? Yes. So Moon is actually hired. He's a lead dev. So right now we have, we actually have prospects for game developing. So yeah, essentially, yes. We have hired, and we also have 2 really nice prospects that we're just in the interview process. So, Lodi, so also you mentioned IRL projects. Are you considering charity donations, perhaps to save the bees? So, I would say a bee foundation would be kind of nice to keep everything kind of bee related. However, yes, as far as charity donations, 100%. So we're actually creating a liquidity pool where you guys like essentially like excess funds because and a lot of inspiration was just due to a lot of recent events. We want to make DeFi beautiful. We want to make DeFi the whole like idea, like I keep saying, community is everything. It is everything in DeFi. So if there's a way we can help out other communities, not necessarily protocols, but homeless shelters, impoverished, countries or what have you, then by all means, right? Like when I say we want to make a social impact, we really do, and the thing is, and you guys have the choice with that. So as far as how that's going to work out, Hakia and Thinky are they're gonna kind of lead as far as slightly lead it. At the same time, what we'll do is we'll present to you guys like if let's just say we have like X amount of liquidity, it gets essentially it's locked for like a week, and then we just disperse it to whatever projects the community votes on, saying and the projects are whether it's an IRL thing like a homeless shelter or something that they want to donate to and just help just make the world just a little bit better. You guys have the choice for that. So you guys, and which is really nice, and that's a really good, like feeling that, just to give back, right? That's the beauty. That is also the beauty of financial freedom is you have the ability to give back. So when roadmap, right now, everything like docs, all that is being completely fleshed out. So RogueDev, tell about yourself and devs and how you know each other and what's the dev experience. So Moon is a lead dev. I don't know, Moon, if you want to answer kind of give your own experience, but extremely talented developer, has been in the space. So Moon is he's out there. You guys can Google Moon's Own Burn. He's been making tutorials on just programming in itself for years, right? Our dev team is extremely experienced as far as just being the top of the line, and that's where I would arguably extremely bullish on is I would say we have the top dev team in all the protocols, right? If you hear about Comb, one of the number one things you always hear about is the dev team. The dev team's insane. We're pushing out updates honestly constantly, and that's just through the experience of our dev team. Now, I would say a little bit about myself is I started my first business 4 years ago, and it was in automotive, and essentially this is like a one brick and mortar asset in California, in Southern California. And over the period of 4 years, I've built up a successful chain, over 10 assets. These are tangible, like finite, like you can look them up, Google them, of 10 automotive locations throughout Southern California. and that was in my essential job. And I did this without turning a wrench. Like, I'm not a tech or mechanic. For me, I focused entirely on just the product and like the service and the growth, right? And that's what I would say benefited me a lot. And I saw a lot of similarities within just DeFi protocols and how they were being ran. You know, every business is a business of hospitality. We have to treat you guys with the utmost, like provide the utmost, which is why we do these extra things. Like, which is why, like, honestly, I understand KYCs to the point, like through like protocols is like requiring that, but I believe that face we should not be normalizing like anonymity. You know, it kind of defeats the purpose slightly, but being anonymous, especially as a founder and you're dealing with investor funds, only in DeFi is that normalized. People are like, okay, that's fine. It should not be fine in my point of view. That's why my face, all like the team's face is out there, is so you guys know that we're here to stay, and to give you guys more security. I would say, if you were going to do a 3-month roadmap, you see how many questions are going quick. Let me see. When did he answer as? Okay, it's really for me because we were hosting, but I'm personally most excited for. Yeah, so Moon can touch base a little bit on the financial services. But personally for me, I'm excited super for the Hiveverse. I'm a gamer. So by just having kind of that and having the use case, like when you guys first try it out and first play with it, it's insane. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, maybe because it's like, you know, it's like, it's part of your baby, right? So it's like, okay, you know what? Maybe there's a little biasy on there. But when you actually like run around with your avatar, it's insane, man. It's like, it's one of those things where you're like, the possibilities are truly endless when you're there. This is just the beginning, you know? Like, it's like you're navigating throughout your hive and you're able to actually interact. And then the thing is as we keep rolling out with more and more iterations, the possibilities are so endless with this. It's insane. Which is why you're saying these interact. Like, of course, these are going to be things like this is where like DeFi is actually truly getting it. Like, it's beautiful, man. And so we're extremely excited for that. That's specifically for me. And then also we do have a lot of really cool other things that we're also launching so people can get, so we can satisfy all areas, I would say. Do you all offer bug bounty program or how is security? I would say not. No. I mean, actually reached out. We'll try. So yeah. So how's the security? So one of the reasons. So because our contracts are changing and we're optimizing it constantly, we haven't gotten an audit for that reason, right? For us, we're constantly pushing out. Like, doesn't mean we're not secure. We have had no breach or any of that stuff. And that's just, through the experience I have. The dev team is so experienced to the point that I have immense trust with our team. And I am biased, by the way, so you know that. But essentially, one of the main reasons is it becomes obsolete, right? Like, if we're constantly pushing out new iterations and kind of changing and kind of optimizing it constantly, then getting an audit would just be kind of just a waste of. I'd rather have that liquidity being used to benefit Comb, you know. I think audit, KYC, these are things that people take as security measures before they kind of gauge an investment, which is perfect, which is fine. But at the same time, like, there's other aspects to gauge instead of those being the criteria, right? There should be other criteria associated with that, but it makes sense. Next question: will you be able to transfer our nodes to different wallet in the future? Yes. So exactly. So Moon touch base. So when you turn them into NFTs, that's the beauty of it. So when I was touching base on it earlier was a lot of people, when they get exposed, they don't necessarily have a Ledger wallet, and that's huge, right? Security, because guys, this is like when I say this, you guys are early. This is really, really early, right? And the beauty of Comb and the beauty of just these other protocols is the compounding effect, right? They're like, we all benefit from compounding. So there comes a point where, suppose you started and you don't have a Ledger, but your portfolio, specifically in this sector, is worth just quite a substantial amount. That's important to have that secured. So that's why the NFT transfer is going to be huge. So guys, please just keep yourself secure at all costs, because we have a lot of support tickets coming through, and we try to help as much as we possibly can. But there's some cases that if there's no proof on your guys' end, then we can't really help there. Sustainable platform. Have you launched a marketing campaign? So yeah. So right now, so Waters, like, love the project. Thank you. We're grateful for our dedication to a sustainable platform. Have you launched a marketing campaign? So Actually, no. So yes and no. So I've been doing a lot of interviews. So in the beginning, I'm really into relationship type of marketing, and that's just due to just I have my own reasons and personal opinions on that. And the reason I believe in that is I believe that whoever we like partner up with has to believe in the protocol success. They're not just they're not just doing it out of just a quick like 200 $300 there. I don't like that. And then once you guys are also on the other side of the spectrum, you guys will see like there's a I don't know. I'm not a fan of shield posts. I don't like shilling. I like to build a wholesome organic community, and I love that. Um, and I also wanted us to focus our budget or just kind of focus on just product development in the beginning, right? Like, what's the point of dropping a marketing campaign when the product isn't even released yet? Or having like a nice product. For me, I don't want to sell this product. I don't want to sell it. If I have to sell it, then it's, there's an issue. I want this to be like, what you guys play around with. And that's why when I say the Hypeverse is actually amazing and like it opens your eyes, that's what I mean by it. Right. But yes, right now I've spoken with, I want us to be, like I said, I want to make it accessible to a lot of individuals. So I'm targeting different types of sectors of areas. And the campaign is going to be actually launched soon. I have launched our promotional, like I would say, our influencer partner campaign. That has already been launched on the 29th of last month, and that's going to slowly start picking up as we go. Everybody's influencer partner. They believe in the vision of Comb, and they're all like, we all kind of I've spoken with them, and we're also onboarding a few more I have in mind as well. But essentially, the whole idea is that they believe in the community, they like the direction, and at the same time, they're representing us. So, Ender's Game, you mentioned a movie night. What other community events do you have planned? Well, there's a ton. There's Hive Wars. Now Sonia created that. That's going to be extremely insightful. Where you choose a community, a bashful bear, a buzzing bee. There's going to be a quiz. We're going to have a quiz night. We have a movie night tonight after. I think we have a game. We have a game night tonight, and then we have a movie. I believe we're going to try to stream a movie on there afterwards. The thing is, we want this to be as wholesome as possible, and you guys also can see that we want you guys to for you guys to feel like just because we're in this online environment doesn't mean that we cannot all hang out at times. And it should always be about updates and all that stuff. It should also be like let's just have a good environment. So Moon, kind of the next thing, Moon kind of touched base on his experience. Know more about DAOs compared to nodes. That's why I think the space gets more exposure through these type of AMAs. Yeah, you're 100% right. Farms and yield optimizers most. So, do you plan on stopping the production of nodes and switching to a secondary market for buying node NFTs? If this happens, what is the use case for Cone Token? So essentially for that, it has been a discussion slightly. We haven't dived super deep into it, so I don't want to go super deep into that just because I don't have a definite answer as far as productions, but it will be used secondary market when it turns into NFTs, and besides that, there's gonna be a lot more use cases for the Comb token besides nodes, right? I keep telling you, I keep saying I want to keep being a broken record, but I don't want the only reason you come into Comb is for a high. I want there to be other reasons, and there will be other reasons, and it's coming out. So you guys will see. Once we have 12,500 followers on Twitter, you'll have that other reason. You'll know what it is. All right. What's the price? Price. 80 cents. Okay, so what was rugged up? What was the whitelist price and launch price? 80 cents for the launch price. I'm gonna touch that. Were you funded by Fantom or a grant or something? No, but fees. I feel like I'm reiterating what he's kind of saying. Process.
Yeah.
So are you all worrying about starting the dev team? Yeah. So Moon's answering questions too. So I realized I was kind of reiterating as I was going down the list. And so just make sure you have that. But at the same time, so Hot Sauce put up Immunify. So one of the main reasons we haven't released our contracts out is because it's proprietary. When I say that innovation is really what sets us apart, we're a tech company, so our code is really it's valuable, extremely valuable. There's a lot of dedication and hours spent on that. So we're being cautious as far as just releasing that out and providing it. But once we feel confident, it will, it's up to Moon's decision if he wants to make it open source. But yeah, we'll check out Immunify though. I'm sure that's a different reaction. So last another question: are you planning on joining the UOT or creating your own network? As you already started some kind of alliances with Vapor nodes and Power nodes. So yes, we love the concept of UOT. We did see a little slight backlash with what happened last night. We're not in the UOT, by the way. UOT is Union of Transparency. It was created by Nylock, which is Loki from Thor, if you guys know him. And essentially, the whole idea behind that is to provide you guys more exposure to other protocols that have, that have good intentions, right? The intentions are pure. They're here to innovate. They're not here to do anything malicious. And I love that whole concept, right? And I always say it in every AMA is, I don't want you guys to only invest in Comb. Things happen. I want you guys to, I want this to just be a piece. I don't want the whole basket to just have like, one egg or slight of an egg, right? It's important for you guys to be diversified throughout, like, just different protocols, just so you guys have, more security on your end, if anything, just price action or just whatever happens, it's, just things happen at the end of the day. So I love the whole concept of that. And I think the true beauty of the UOT is going to be when regulation starts occurring. So we're seeing regulations happening kind of in the crypto space, and it's going to get more and more regulated. So there needs to be some sort of like, like I would say like, like in like businesses, like better bureaucracy, like, like the triple Bs. So there has to be like a bureaucracy where it's like, where all these different protocols are like, enact and have set standard. I'm not leading or like directing the UOT. We're not even a part of it, so I can't really touch more bases on it. But I love the idea and the concept of that, and we're all for that. Because we have nothing to hide when it comes down to stuff like that. We'll join it as long as like if it makes sense, it makes sense. We're interested. They're still developing out all their like the whole UOT is still being like fleshed out through his end. So when that kind of goes through, we'll kind of be exposed to that and see what it really means to be part of the UOT. But we're not part of that. We're not part. However, we still support, just because we're not in the UOT, and in case we don't even join the UOT, guys, we will still support every protocol out there that's out there to make a change and just actually innovate. I respect creativity a ton. So when like especially with Vapor nodes, right, when they flip the script, I really enjoyed that. So it's one of those things I like innovation. And it's one of those things. Is buying another validator node a priority for the team? So maybe. So the thing is we love the Fantom ecosystem. So if we can help out this ecosystem as much as possible, then by all means. And essentially, yeah. So I would say it's in the books as far as liquidity, but we have some few things to do with the liquidity and everything. We're gonna in initial too. Just I want to make sure everybody gets it across. And I've said this in the beginning too, like weeks ago before we even saw the time incident. Is I'm treating this like we want to treat Comb like every other, like just a normal other business, right? What happens when you first create a business and you start profiting? What's the first thing you should do? You should reinvest those profits back into the protocol. I don't necessarily agree with just investing the profits back into like other protocols and all that stuff in the beginning. That's just because everything is still in the infant stage, and everything is still not fleshed out. Like when I say we're early, we're early. And essentially, so that's why we're going to kind of focus on just utilizing that liquidity to make Comb, the Fantom protocol, I would say. And that's our initial goal. I love the concept of DAS, and that will happen as well. And when that does happen, we'll have a professional team of investors that do this for a living, right? That are TA experts and what have you. So that'll come as well. Well, Combs, let's see, one exposure nodes but can't afford to hive the node collective. Yeah, that's actually true. Node collectives are good. I love the concept. It's essentially an index of a bunch of nodes out there of projects. So if you can't get into these, because as the price action gets higher and higher, it's going to get more and more difficult for people to just kind of get exposed. We're going to think of ways to limit that, obviously. So so you guys won't have to but it's nice to be exposed to just the index of them. And then what is UOT? So UOT is a Union of Transparency. Already touch base. So how big is the team? So our team is right now expanding. Currently, right now, like as far as the core team goes, I would say 8, and that includes would say eight, like I would say eight, but we're hiring more developers. I'm also getting interns. So if you actually have like an experience in marketing or just growth in general, reach out to me. We're getting more. We're essentially expanding the team right now. And then let's go. Let's see if there's any last questions. I guess I don't know. Is there if there's anybody wants? I know I was answering text questions. So if anybody has
Yeah,
um,
no, we don't have anyone with a mic apparently. So yeah, we can wrap things up here if you want. Oh, I think I moved you. I moved you to the audience apparently, or
yeah, I don't know what happened there. Yeah, just a
any
queue, but
last comments if, for the audience, maybe before we wrap things up?
sorry, I couldn't hear. Can you repeat that one more time? Or are you
Yeah.
Bear or B?
Yeah, no, if you had any last comments
Yeah.
for the audience before we wrap things up.
Yeah, so guys, our metaverse, our Hyverse is going to come out really, really soon. However, that is not an update that we're going to launch at 12,500 followers on Twitter. We have a really good, nice update coming out for you guys. As always, everybody on the team is always open to any questions you guys have. We want to be as fully transparent as possible. So if there's anything that I need to touch base with, or if there's a question you guys didn't have a chance to ask, reach out. If you guys, I don't know if Orculum will provide links for our Discord or our Twitter. By all means, always reach out. We're here to help you guys. We are at your disposal. So any questions that we didn't touch base on, by all means, we want you guys to be educated as much as possible before you make an investment. So we're huge advocates for that, and that's the beauty of it. As always, thank you guys. Thank you so much thank you, just Olympian, the Olympians, the Omis, right? The Omis are turning to Comies at this moment. So thank you guys so much for giving us the time out of your day for us to come kind of give a little bit more knowledge for people about Com. And yeah, thank you, and thank you to the audience for showing up, asking
Thank
questions.
you all for coming, and hope to see you on the next one. The recording will be updated in the next few days. Right now, I'm technically on holidays. I'm on my laptop, but I'll record it
No worries.
I'll upload the recording as soon as I get home.
No worries. Thank you once again, and I guess that's our cue. Thank you guys.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
the
all.
AMA.